I'm Hannah. I'm choreographer and stylist.
Hi, I'm Ishan. I'm co-choreographer and dancer, and I also direct this film.
Hi, I'm Alicia. I'm a dancer.
Hi, I'm Suwin. I'm the co-composer and I play the Ruan. And I'm also the music producer, synthesizing all of our musicians' ideas.
Hi, I'm Jocelyn and I play the Sheng, and I'm also one of the co-composers for this project.
Hi, I'm Wei Xuan and I play the Di Zi.
Hello, I'm Wei Da and I play the Yang Qing.
The title of this piece is In Time to Be, and the piece explores the concept of distance and desire. So we put together the story of the red thread of fate and this idea of blue being representative of the color of distance, which we got from this author Rebecca Sonnet. And we also intended for the piece to be quite reflective of how it's 6-7 people coming together and overcoming certain distances, whether physical or metaphysical, and weaving together a tapestry of sorts together. So we found that this concept was quite representative of the process that the team was going through as well.
So when we first started our project, the first 1 or 2 sessions, we were kind of just like improvising and sort of reacting to what the dancers were doing, as well as vice versa, they were reacting to our music. So it was kind of fun, it was kind of improvisational, but we felt like there was more that we could do to it. So we ultimately decided that, okay, we want to compose it a bit, but we didn't want to like thoroughly compose an entire piece like you would a standard like composition. So we thought that, okay, why not we do something slightly different. So what we did was actually we broke it up. We actually had 8 different small little snippets of music. We composed that and we actually recorded this in all sorts of different ways. We brought it back to the studio and we sort of like put it together, assembled it. So that was something new that we hadn't tried before as a team. And that was quite fun and interesting and reflective of the process as well. Yeah.
So by using this approach of music production, actually we break the boundaries of the acoustic world. We could do all sorts of things to all these instruments, processing the sounds, reversing the audio, dragging them out, shortening them, changing the pitch, making them super low, and then it's just creating whole new sound worlds that you would never have experienced if you're just watching a Chinese ensemble,
Yeah, so I think the use of electronics is actually very appropriate in the current pandemic season because there's a restriction on wind instruments actually playing in live venues.
So in how we tie everything together, right? Making sure that each of us have our own inputs. It's very representative of the entire concept of weaving different concepts together, making sure that there's an entire tapestry of ideas that represents our individual contributions. So that was how we viewed our music and how we wanted to sort of tie into the concept to make it more coherent.
The costume was actually inspired by our concept like water, and also because we at first started with blue is the color of distance. So at that point, I think the color blue really stood out to me the most. So I really wanted to use it as one of the colors that is in the costume. I wanted it to be simple and have the red color really be the one that is standing out the most. So I chose white and blue. The inspiration is the red string of fate. So, and then it's like the Chinese mythology. So I thought maybe just like get inspiration from the Chinese Hanfu, and decided to create this piece right here. And like all of them had something more personal. So some of them had like sleeveless, short sleeves, or like long sleeves. Yeah.
So this is my first time doing a dance film, and this is also my first time collaborating with musicians as well, especially like Chinese instruments. Throughout the process, like we explore a lot of different things, like new things as well. We use a lot of props. We use red yarn, and then we tangle ourselves to each other, and then we do improv, like we can manipulate each other, we pull ourselves, we tangle each other. Yeah.
In terms of what the audience can look forward to, it's slightly different to what it normally be a live stream show where it's just a front-facing camera pointed at the stage. So we actually chose to go in something that resembles a dance film more because it allows us to play with different elements and different angles. And also, I think it creates a lot more opportunities to hide certain things and then reveal them in stages. Yeah, and I think that's something that's quite fun to watch out for in the film. And also, I think similar to what the point the musicians made about having to be being able to edit after recording in the studio. Like with the film, it allows us to do things that you can't achieve in real life, where you overlay things, like you can't overlay bodies. So yeah, so I think that's something that creates it kind of like intersperses the timeline in a different way.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm a choreographer and dancer.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a musician in this part of the project.
Hi, I'm Lindsay. I'm also a dancer and choreographer in this project.
Hello, I am Cheney. I'm a musician. Together with Ryan, we are composing the music for this project.
The title of the project is Ontogeny, and the scientific or the Google meaning would be the development of an organism from the earliest form to the mature stage. And in our project, we brought this meaning to us, where we actually focus on the interpersonal relationship and how we develop over time.
So basically, like Ryan said, the concept is basically studying the development of interpersonal relationships, and this was inspired by our very own relationships. So Ryan and Shani knew each other before they started this project because of music, and Nick and I know each other because we are dance partners and also business partners. So basically what we did is that we tried to observe how we speak to each other, the behavior, and from there we kind of broke it down into 4 different stages. So first we started with forming, so the forming of a relationship, and then storming, which is when arguments start to come about and we have our differing opinions, and then norming, when we're trying to find a common ground and trying to work together, and lastly it's basically performing, when everything works harmoniously together.
So I think for the creative process, what we kind of did is we kind of worked together. So at some parts of it, we kind of just showed the musicians some of the ideas that we had, and then based on what we were doing and all the concepts that we had, then they come up with the music. And then in other parts, then they would then come up with the music first, and then we would then choreograph based on what they have given us. So it's kind of working both ways.
So, similar to what Nick said, sometimes we compose first and then they will follow our music to come up with dance steps, and sometimes it's the other way around. So when we were composing, we actually had a few ideas for the 4 sections, and we started working on them to expand them to become what the music is like now.
Yeah, so for the first section, the forming, it's we use as little instruments as possible because it's the starting of the music itself, and there's a very light bass line, and that gives a very awkward and mysterious vibe to it, and it's like our relationship when we come together as musicians and the choreographers, because we don't know each other, but we only know our own group. The choreographers know each other beforehand, and the musicians, we know each other beforehand. So there's this like familiar and unfamiliar sounds towards it, and this is driven by the melody that is very soothing and it's very flowy, while the bass line, it's very staccato-y, it's very mysterious and awkward. I think the audience can look forward to being very surprised with what we can do, especially with the choreographers, because they are from the Latin ballroom dance background. They mainly do that, and now they are actually like going to doing something very experimental with us. And for us as musicians, we actually also experimented with a lot of things, and for us it's very crazy because we actually pushed our own personal boundary, and we did something very crazy that it is for us, and it's very experimental, so you can look forward to that. Yeah.
I think for us, what you can look forward to is non-conventional Latin ballroom dancing, so it's not necessarily what you have in your mind. We tried to push the boundary in a sense that we're still using Latin ballroom steps, but not necessarily to Latin ballroom music that you would expect. And also, generally you would think Latin ballroom dancing, the man leads the lady, but here, you know, we will experiment and you will see that there are changes to that.
Hi, I am Xiao Jun. I am the choreographer and also dancer for this piece.
Hi, my name is Cyril, and my role for this project is musician.
Hi, I'm Roy. My role for this project is a musician and also a composer.
Hi, I'm Yu Jie. My role in this project is a musician and I'm also composing.
So we actually started out not knowing each other at all. So we were like discussing like, okay, what's interesting to us or what's relevant to our practice, them traditional Chinese music and me more in contemporary dance. So then we were like, oh, okay, traditional and contemporary sounds like a topic that we have a lot of resonance for. We feel quite deeply for both, and that now that we are living in a more modern world, the kind of lifestyle and the trainings that we get, it's a bit conflicting or like just don't really match sometimes. There's that tension in what we practice and how we live our lives. We were initially very stuck on the traditional versus contemporary, and we realized that okay, this is not going anywhere because it's like an apple and orange. It's impossible to compare because it just evolves differently. So we went ahead with thinking about, okay, then how can we portray the good points of both? Then time came in mind, like how time is the constant factor that pushes all these things to change.
So we use things like wood element to represent the birth of a civilization. So from wood, and as society or cities progress and developed over time, there's metal. So towards the second half of the production, you will actually be able to hear certain metallic sounds from our percussive instruments and even from our own guzheng and erhu. So
there's also a transition in mood from a warm atmosphere, one that is closer to nature, one that is more closer to the heart, and one that is colder, harsher, and with more pressure to kind of show the states of civilization, the development from one period of time to another period of time, and how that affects the individual and how that affects the way we play as well. So towards the end of the this work, we will see us standing and playing rather than sitting using the traditional way to play.
Composing is not so easy
to
be just directly writing down what we have in mind. So it's more of a way of we are actually playing around or exploring with different elements of using more new extended techniques, for example, on our instruments, and also exploring with different percussion instruments, to further value add, to enhance to the whole effect and the soundscapes of the whole production itself. Coming from a musician background, we don't compose, but in fact we actually read what other people write, and then we actually try to express based on our music instruments. But this is our first-hand experience in composing, so very thankful that we have our mentor, Mr. Wang Shenwei, to help us out along the way. But of course, during composing, there's always a lot of inspiration that we draw from the videos that we watch or the daily lives that we encounter with the various experiences that we have. So actually, we have a few drafts of composing, but not everyone make it to our final product as well. So it's also in terms of, coming from myself as a guzheng musician, I don't play the erhu itself. So I also have to work closely with my erhu friends here, to really understand what kind of techniques the erhu has, and then what kind of, how can they play it, and how guzheng as a pluck string instruments versus a string instrument on erhu, how can it actually blend well. But to be honest, by blending guzheng and erhu together is a very difficult and challenging effort here that we were facing actually. So, but I think we still managed to hit it off quite well.
Yes.
And also to incorporate dance movements.
The challenging part for me, firstly in terms of composing, was trying to break free of what we were used to, because we are all very reliant on harmony and very reliant on harmonizing with each other. But that wouldn't work out we realized that didn't work out very well for the contemporary part, because everything just sounded too similar to each other, and then we were struggling to portray a very clear difference. Then towards nearing the end of this project, we decided to really just abort the whole harmonious structure thing, where we just started looking at it in a different way and started to see really approach contemporary music for what we think it is, rather than what we were used to, like harmonizing each other or listening out to each other. So we were all exploring a more individualistic side of the way we play.
This is the first time playing percussive instruments. Yeah, so the thought process is we realized towards the end it's too melodic. So we think we wanted to add in more like different sounds, you know, or different effects. So the thought was, how about we add percussive instruments, you know, like the metal bells, this kind of thing, you know. We got a singing bowl. So it's not pluck string or bow string instruments. I feel like it adds a new dimension to our piece. Yeah, so playing it as well was a challenge also. So I actually went around asking my friends, you know, to how do I play it better. So thanks, Chloe. Anyway, yeah, so learning how to control my instrument, you know, here and there. How do I make it sound better, more merge with my ensemble? I think it's quite a difficult task for me. Yeah.
So with the exploration and improvisation, because we kind of work pretty differently, so we tried a lot of improvisations, which is not it's not what they usually do, and it's what I usually do. And then when they're like composing and writing, I don't understand a thing. So I thought it was a very nice process, because like we can see how different performing arts genres actually work and learn from each other.
Our usual playing, we hardly pay attention to things like eye line or, you know, the way we look, the way we stand. But in dance, really all these things are there's a lot of details to take note of. So we started to realize that as the time periods changed, there was more to take note of. Other than the way we play, the way we look, our expressions, and the mood that we try to portray, all has to change. So there was this period of time where we all struggled to get used to the feeling of standing and playing, because there was a lot of things to look out for, like the sound that we produce, and then the way we look. All this had to be taken.
And I mean, at the same time, while moving and standing playing, the way we play traditionally is very different. Also, then so you have to maintain your sound, the quality of your sound, the accuracy. So it's actually a very different experience for us.
At first, it was quite. I thought it was an easy task. You know, I don't really take note of how I present myself, my stage presence on stage, because I think that good enough. You know, when I watch myself and play, I say, hey, yeah, I look okay. But when I start to move around, you know, moving around the stage, holding instruments, I realize there's sometimes I didn't think of my posture, this kind of thing. You know, well, for dance, this is quite a big factor. You know, they actually really adjust you. You know, so yeah, slowly throughout this project, actually take note more on my posture, you know, and the way how I move, you know, how my face is reacting throughout the whole piece, you know. Yeah. So for me, I'm playing the ring stick, singing bowl. There's 3 of them. Then the tubular bells. Yeah. So for Roy, I'm playing zhongwu as well. Yeah, which is my main instrument. Yeah. So for Roy, he's playing 2 guzheng. So for the extended technique, he actually uses a cello bow to create different sounds rather than pluck string sounds. Like it's more of a bowing kind of sound. Then he's playing wooden chimes. Yeah. Then for Yu Jie, she's playing gaohu and erhu, which is our standard bow string instruments. Then she's also playing wind chimes, which is the kind of the metal kind of sound. Then for Xiaojun, she's playing the metal bells.
I think you can look forward to having an experience over time, and also how dance and music has a different relationship.
Everything is live. There's no pre-recorded audio. So whatever you hear is basically what you will get. What we play is exactly what you will get to hear. I guess to add on, Have you seen a musician dance before? Watch out for that.
Hi, so I'm Sharul Muhammad and I'm the choreographer as well as one of the performing collaborator for Komorebi.
Hello, my name is Sherman Lee and I'm the composer and also one of the performer for this project.
I'm Geraldine Tung, but everyone here calls me Garrett, and I am a dance collaborator and also the social media manager.
Hi, I am Al Hafiz Hosni and I'm a dance collaborator for this project.
Hi, my name is Sky and I'm a dance collaborator for this project as well.
So for our title, we wanted it to capture the essence of our work, but also in a subtle way. And the theme of our work surrounds nature and also its different phases. So from its very serene state to its destruction by mankind, and then finally the aftermath of that destruction. And so at the start of this process of finding the right title, we went back and forth. We had ideas like Ember Fire or Crimson Calamity, but we thought that was a bit too in your face. So in the end, I actually suddenly remembered this Japanese term called komorebi, which is roughly translates into the sunlight that filters through the leaves. Yeah, so we all thought that it was quite fitting because that visual really captures the beauty of the forest and nature, and I think that it can also represent hope, even amidst the destruction and chaos caused by mankind. Yeah, so we thought it was quite a beautiful term, and yeah, in the end that's what all of us, even though there were so many voices, but when we heard that term and we saw the meaning for it and the visual for it, we all agreed that it was the perfect title for our work.
So the whole idea of Komorebi actually came about within our first meeting, and we all came in with no idea at all. It's just to sit and discuss. So it was between me, Sherman, and Geraldine first, and then we had Hafiz as well as Sky to come on board, because I think when we started off, we either want to take it abstractly about sound waves or actually look into how we can connect with the current situation that's going around, looking back at the instrument that Sherman used, 笛子, right? Sherman?
Yes.
So that instrument itself was created from a bamboo, and from the idea of bamboo, we looked into how actually Mother Earth connect with us and how global warming actually work around with the use of how human make use of nature, or how nature actually provide for human beings. Speaking of the whole structure of the choreography, we actually could segment it into 3 parts. So the beginning is serenity, and then the chaos/destruction, and the aftermath. It's not so much of a really long durations, but we are actually touching about, in the serenity portion, it's about how when we are born into this world, the nature have already provided for human, and the calm and getting away from the bustling cities. It's always this sense of serene, and we're hearing nature like water droplets, right? In the song that he actually creating, and from there we went to the whole idea of destruction, about how humankind actually make use of nature for its needs, and it's what they want for themselves. So the idea of constructing, the idea of building things using nature itself. And then the last one is a very short section of an aftermath about, so how do then Mother Earth talks to you. It doesn't talk to you literally, but it gives you signs like global warming, ice cap melting.
So for this project, I not only recorded several tracks on my instrument, the 笛子, which is the Chinese bamboo flute. I also did some sound and design. So for this sound design, I crafted it based on the sections, the theme of the section. So for example, the first section is serenity, and then I actually put some raindrops, sound of raindrops, sound of the nature. And then for the final section, I actually did a very, very subtle fire crackling sound in the background. It's very subtle, so you may have to listen out for it. Yes, so so it wasn't only just music in that sense, but also with a mixture of this music and sound design. So as I'm the only musician in this project, so I So I recorded several tracks and I layered them on top of each other to create an impression of a fuller ensemble with a bigger sound.
So, the costume that you see over here is designed and collectively decided by all of us and tailor-made by Mr. Rizman Kasim from Artisani Budaya. So, as you can see here, the crisscross that's over on top here is actually essence from the Chinese traditional outfit, or maybe something like the hanbok. Yeah, and it's infused, therefore it's a bit of fragments of certain of Asian forms.
This is a collaboration. It was a true collaboration in the sense that it wasn't just coming from him, the whole direction of the movement development. He would usually give us like a few starting points, I call them, and he would say, okay, use these gestures and come up with some movements of your own, and then we will improvise, and then we will use our body to figure out, and because each of us are very different, we will obviously come up with very different phrases of movements, and then he would oversee the entire phrase, and then later on developed it further using his own body as well. And so when you watch it, it kind of feels like, you know, everyone just adds in their flavor. So yeah, like I said, it was a true collaboration between him and us as dancers. Yeah.
All of us are very, very different. But we come together. Shahrul has made a safe platform for us to share our practice, our different practices. So we have workshops or sharing sessions from ballet, contemporary techniques, or street house, or even musical theatre jazz. So all these, when we were learning it, we also have incorporated to the dance. So that also adds on to the voices that all of us have contributed. So it's a very collaborative process, I would say. I think that word has been used over and over. We can't stress it enough. Yeah.
So this is actually my first time working with dancers. So I think it's a very new experience for me because I am not used to writing music as well as performing music. So I think in this sense that it's a very eye-opening moment for me because I have to first understand how do the dancers work. For example, I need to understand like they need to be able to hear this constant pulse to be able to catch it, and then I need to somehow incorporate this into the music. And then as this is also my first time, so I think that it's a very interesting experience, and I hope that I think in future I'll be able to have more of this such experiences.
I think if I were to add on about how significant and his role and how important it is that every time we come for rehearsals, he will always have his instruments ready, and when we do our warm-ups, when we are moving, he will be at the side trying to find essence or sound or music to actually complement the movement. And at times, I think it's such an organic development because we can change and have a certain shift, right, Sherman, on the spot, and we've picked out certain things that dancers resonated with or things that doesn't work, and I think what was difficult was the vocabulary. It's like duck and chicken talking to each other, but what we could find was that can we have a tu-tu-tu, but a more heavy, and he will on the spot try different versions. And because he had 4,000 different flutes in his bag, like I couldn't emphasize how so much of a flute he have. So he have different like pitching that, okay, let me change to a bigger flute or a smaller flute. Yeah. On top of that also because the dancers, only Hafiz has a music background. I think Geraldine, myself and Sky, we are lacked of that knowledge. So we had Nami to come in to have a sense of like pitching session with us to understand tone together with Sherman. Yeah, and we took that further on in our rehearsals.
So actually to add on, and I'm not only performing the music and writing the music for this project, I'm also will be moving around in this project. So it's actually my first time doing something physical in that sense. So I think it was a challenge for me at the start because I didn't know how to like move comfortably or in a very natural way, such as walking. So I'm very grateful for Shahrul and actually the rest of the dancers also for guiding me in this process and teaching me how to move in a more artistic way, for lack of better words. Yeah.
When you as viewers, when you watch Komorebi, look out for beautiful Asian contemporary movement infused with artistic voice from the artist over here, as well as amazing new composition and choreography by all of us.
So I think the audience can look forward to the integration of music and dance together, and the feeling of not just a physical space but the oral space as well. And I think you can, if you are used to if you are used to seeing dance or music as two separate elements, then I think you will be surprised at what you can expect from this project.
I think Komoribi would not be possible without the support from Scape, Reina, as well as Wei Hong,
as well as our mentor Wang Shengwei and Miss Melissa Kwek, as well as the recording engineers from Poco Productions.
And last but not least, our film production team, Lepsi Production, and the artist that's over here.